Boar's Head is bringing a slice of Japan to the deli. Introducing Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. Tender, slow-roasted chicken breast, coated in our signature teriyaki glaze, where ginger, garlic, and a hint of brown sugar meet for a flavor that's both sweet and savory. New Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. The bold flavor of Japan. Now at the deli. Only from Boar's Head. Compromise elsewhere.
Blog Talk Radio.
Well, good evening, folks, and thank you for tuning in with me once again to another edition of True Conservative Radio. And, of course, I am your host, the man they call Ghost. And once again, folks, I want to thank you very much for tuning in with me. It has been some time since I conducted a broadcast here on the Blog Talk Radio Network. But since I've been gone, folks, there has been a lot of things that have come around the news circuit, especially for those that are interested in true conservative commentary. And we're going to try to cover a good scope of it on this edition of True Conservative Radio. This is number 125 for all the people that are keeping up with the editions of True Conservative Radio, and I appreciate it. Before we go on any further, I would like for everyone to please bookmark or add to your favorites the official Blog Talk Radio, or the official website on blogtalkradio.com/ghost. That is the official website of the True Conservative Radio program. Please add it to your favorites, bookmark it, do whatever it is that you have to do. blogtalkradio.com/ghost. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter for all the folks that are wanting to tune in live with me on the broadcast instead of downloading the podcast and listening to me in other means. Ghost Politics is the Twitter name, folks. Ghost Politics. All one word, no underscores. Now that we've got all that malarkey out of the way, I want to go ahead and get right into the crux of what we're going to talk about this evening. We're going to talk about a variety of different issues, but the first thing I want to talk about is the Patriot Act and President Barack Obama's extension of certain parameters of the Patriot Act. Now, let me get this straight for all the bedwetting liberals that during the presidential campaign, they were hopping on the bandwagon of this Obama nation, you know, this idolization of this cult of personality that was Barack Obama, this fascination that he gave people whenever he, I don't know, displayed great theater, I guess, theatrical prowess whenever he read from a damn teleprompter. But I remember back before this ridiculous liberal regime takeover of the American government, and I remember when George W. Bush was president, all right? And George W. Bush was, someone who implemented the Patriot Act, and the people who were against the Patriot Act were critical of it because of the wiretapping, all right? Because of supposedly monitoring lone wolf terrorists or potential domestic terrorists, monitoring people's business records and being able to just monitor people's activity if they're suspected of terrorism. And remember, during the Bush administration, George W. Bush and his administration took a lot of heat for these provisions in the Patriot Act. And who are the ones crying foul during that time? Well, it was none other than the damn bedwetting liberals. It was none other than these damn liberal long hairs, the same people that abided by the damn cult of personality that was Obama. And that was probably one of the main sources of substance when the liberals were attempting to become critical against the administration of George W. Bush. Now we have these provisions of the Patriot Act ready to be expired on Tuesday. And according to reports, you've got Barack Obama willing to extend these provisions in the Patriot Act. Now, given the fact that, we are living in a day and age where, I don't know, the Democrats and the liberals like to expose contradictions on anyone who decides to oppose their ideology, I'd like to expose this contradiction within this liberal regime or this liberal fascination or this cult of personality. Why is it now we have Barack Obama going back on his word? All right, and the surrogates that backed up this liberal regime going back on their word and basically signing or extending provisions in the Patriot Act that they were so adamantly against when it was a previous administration. This right here only exposed the blatant hypocrisy that is liberalism. And that's why I conduct these broadcasts on a consistent basis. Do you think I'm doing this crap for my health? I mean, this damn show gives me high blood pressure, or I get a cracked voice box every time I attempt to do a broadcast. And the reason I'm doing this is because I'm looking at a dumbified America. And let me repeat that one more time. A dumbified America where we're sitting here accepting the generic mass production of American human beings, complacent with being nothing more than consumeristic lab rats running to materialistic food pellets, and all we're left to do is just sit here and wonder what in the hell happened or what is going to happen in the future. When we, as the American people who should be participating in this government, we have a responsibility. We have an option to participate in this government and to guide its progress or its downfall. And as we can see in modern-day America, folks, it's failed us, you know. We have failed us. We became complacent with our own economic needs, and we failed to exercise our political obligation. Our political obligation being that we be a well-informed society and make political judgments based upon that well-informedness, if that's even a freaking word, for heaven's sake. But no, folks, instead, you know, we've got the internet, one of the greatest tools given to mankind, giving mankind instant access to information, current events, up-to-the-date news. I mean, it's unimaginable what the internet has given us. It's given us the opportunity to be able to provide avenues of discourse of one's own individual perspectives. And yet, what are people using the goddamn internet for? They're using it for pornography. They're using it to, make rendezvous with loosey whore bags across town because they've got Craigslist so they can go hook up with each other behind their spouses' backs. You know, they're out here, prowling the internet for underage. I don't even want to go into that, but this is what the people are using the internet for, folks. This is what they're using the internet for, when we need to be using the internet to inform ourselves. Now, back to Obama, once again contradicting himself and, contradicting the liberal regime's adamant approach during the Bush administration for calling him a dictator. I mean, do you remember this? I remember this very vividly. They were calling George W. Bush a dictator. I mean, there was effigies of George W. Bush with the damn Hitler stash. I mean, it was utterly pathetic. And yet, I find it funny that they claim that, during that time in American history that was the most oppressive time, and that George W. Bush, under the Patriot Act, was doing everything from tapping into our phone calls and doing all this malarkey. And that was their criticism. Remember that, folks? That was a liberal criticism. And now what are they doing? All right? Now what are they doing now? They are going to sign in the same provisions that they were so critical of during the Bush administration. They are going to sign them back into law Tuesday. And you see, folks, this is why I insist on telling folks that the liberal regime is a contradiction within itself. We can't sit here and acknowledge the legitimacy of liberalism or feminism, because once you attempt to debate liberalism or feminism on any debating table, the whole essence of their persuasion is propaganda. It's emotional exploitation. Haven't you noticed that every liberal that's ever debated, and it doesn't matter if it's a politician or some schmuck on the street who thinks he knows something, if you ever listen to a liberal debate, what do they start doing? The first thing they start doing, they try to suck the emotion out of you like a freaking emotional vampire. Yeah, they try to throw some underlying story, some heartfelt, emotional, wrenching story, so that could give their ridiculous premise of whatever their persuasion is on the particular debate to have that much more substance. When it's made of no substance, it's an illusion. And that's what I continue to say on this broadcast, and I continue to tell people out there who listen to me on the podcast or live in the broadcast. Liberalism and feminism is an illusion. It's a joke. It's political romance gone haywire. I mean, don't you understand that now that we're living in this new liberal-dominated government, that this utopian, quasi-socialist communist society doesn't seem to be transpiring in such a smooth transition, given the fact that this government is dominated by a bunch of bedwetting liberal long hairs. All right? I'm sick and tired of hearing these stupid Obama Kool-Aid drinker cult of personality ass clowns try to sit here and justify the lack of American progress up to this point on the fact that Obama hasn't been in office that long. I mean, you hear it all the time. Oh, he hasn't been in office that long. He's trying to fix what George W. Bush messed up. I mean, they say that on a consistent basis, but don't you understand that this man, given the fact that he's the president and that he belongs to the liberal regime that's in complete domination of the Congress, complete domination of the Senate, don't you understand that this man, anything he says should be able to go into law within a snap of a finger? Don't you understand that? Anything he says should not even be debatable because they have a majority. They dominate the government. So why is it so hard for Barack Obama to, enact all these supposed initiatives and supposed promises that he made during the campaign? Why is it so hard for him to implement it into action right now, given the fact that his liberal regime is in power? Because Barack Obama, all right, Barack Obama is not in power of this regime, folks. Get it through your stupid heads. This man has lost all credibility within his own party. He's only a fictitious lame duck president. I mean, you've got Nancy Pelosi and her plastic face and the disgusting scowl that she continues to sport, trying to vouch for more legitimate political power than Barack Obama. And you can tell by her actions in the Congress and the speeches that she gives on a consistent basis just to show that disgusting scowl on the television set. You've got Harry Reid out here trying to vouch for power, trying to maneuver his bureaucratic position into some sort of prominence. You've got Bill Clinton asserting his liberal power from outside the institution of the American government. And we talked about that a variety of different times. Bill Clinton's trip to North Korea was a blatant, vulgar display of bureaucratic power right in the face of the Obama administration, proving that Bill Clinton has more clout within the liberal regime and has more clout within international relations than Barack Obama. I mean, going out there underneath the noses of the American government, and the whole premise, the supposed media face given behind this North Korean trip was the stupid two bimbos that went across North Korean lines and got captured. That was not the reason why Bill Clinton went out there. He went out there to prove to Barack Obama and the administration and the world that Barack Obama is impotent. He has no kind of power, not only within his own liberal regime, but in international relations. Because Bill Clinton went out there, now North Korea allows the UN inspectors back in. Now North Korea allows the IAEA back in. Why? Because Bill Clinton assured Kim Jong-il that the United States were going to abide by the Joint Framework Agreement that was agreed in 1994, and that's why he went out there and showed. He went to North Korea and showed the world that Barack Obama is impotent when it comes to foreign relations. Right now, Barack Hussein Obama is begging everyone in America to buy whatever he's selling on this health care bill because his whole political legitimacy is based on it. Now, before we go off on something else, I want to end this segment on the Patriot Act because I think it's a very serious issue for folks that are listening in. I think it's funny not only that Barack Obama is being a complete hypocrite, and not only is he being a complete hypocrite, but the stupid, dumbass idiots who supported his campaign are being complete and stupid, long-haired, dumbass idiots by not acknowledging the fact that what Obama's doing and what he's going to do tomorrow by extending the provisions in the Patriot Act that allow roving wiretaps and, tracking supposed lone wolf suspects of domestic terror, seizing people's bank accounts, all this crap that the liberals were so critical about George W. Bush when he was president. Now Barack Obama is going to sign them back into law. He's going to make them extended for even longer periods of time. And, of course, you're not going to hear any stupid liberal or some muff-diving feminist sit here and try to hoop and holler or give the president a hand on that little signature of extension of the Patriot Act. Oh, no, you're not going to hear the liberals hoop and holler about that because they're stupid. Do you understand, folks? Most of the people that are liberals today, the only substance they have whenever approaching anyone with any kind of logic to a debate is the crap that they're given to them by the talking heads on the television. The MSNBCs, the CNNs, whatever these idiots and the pundits say on this ridiculous programs, supposed mainstream news media, that's the substance that they're going to throw at you in a debate. These are not well-informed people. These are people that have been sold a complete lie, a political romance, and houses in the sky, and they do not read the writing on the wall. And the writing on the wall, folks, means to me, and anyone else with any kind of rational mind can interpret this, is not only complete hypocrisy, but just a display of government in our faces and a display of power that shows that the system of government is going to rule over the people as long as the people are dumbed down, ridiculous, and are able to be sold dumbass stories about I'll promise to pay your mortgage and I'll promise to put a Cadillac in your front lawn. I promise to give you tax this and stimulus checks. All these promises. And now what's happening? We're still at we're approaching 10% unemployment. All right, you've got this ridiculous liberal regime trying to build up the economy by adding, what was it, 1 million, 2 million, 3 million more government jobs. Yeah, that's really boosting up an economy, huh? Transitioning our government and our system into some sort of quasi-socialist horse crap. And now, what are the liberals doing? They're not going to talk about Obama extending this Patriot Act. They're not going to talk about it. They're not even going to talk about it. Now, another thing that I find completely hypocritical is that the liberals were so against George W. Bush when it came to the Patriot Act provisions that are going to be extended by Barack Hussein Obama tomorrow. And they talked about how Bush was, once again, they had euphemisms and little Hitler uniforms, and they had grotesque effigies of George W. Bush as some sort of evil dictator or some devil. And yet you have Barack Obama as his contribution to health care supposed reform. He's going to enact a federal law that's going to require you to pay for health insurance. I mean, I find that funny to me. That's funny that you've got people that were pissed during the Bush administration because of the Patriot Act provisions that this liberal regime is going to sign into extension tomorrow. all right, which is complete hypocrisy within itself. And now they're trying to force people to buy health insurance under the disguise of reform by a federal mandate. Folks, this is why I keep saying that the American public sucks. I mean, frankly, there are a bunch of nimrods, a bunch of buffooneries, because they are allowing this to happen. They're allowing it to happen. They're not thinking of rational, sound mind. This is why I'm saying, folks, this is government going completely haywire. We need American people to start participating in this government, and that's all there is to it. Now, as far as this Patriot Act is concerned, I agree. I think the provisions need to be ended. They need to be just shut off from legitimate political or litigious legitimacy, and we need to get rid of them. We need to be a free country again. We need to be Americans. We need to emphasize the Constitution, and I don't agree with Barack Obama extending the Patriot Act. Now, I can understand why the Patriot Act was enacted because of 9/11. There was a lot of hyper-patriotism at the time and a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty. And, of course, we enacted a whole bunch of laws and enacted a bunch of nonsense that, in retrospect, was probably ill-advised and not necessary for the time. But, folks, we are living in the now, we are living in the present, and we need to move forward, and we're not moving forward. We are remaining stagnant. We are remaining stagnant because we have a liberal regime that's in power that's more worried about extending government in your life than they are worried about helping this country. And that's what makes me sick about these liberals and these feminists. They always claim to be men and women of the people, and yet they never help the men and women of the people. All right? They never help them. And I don't give a crap if you're one of these stupid Kool-Aid drinkers that are going to tell me that, oh, well, Barack Obama hasn't been in office that long. You got to give him time, Ghost. You got to give him time. Malarkey. Once again, I can't emphasize this anymore to the Nimrods who just can't understand why individuals are so upset at the lack of progress by this ridiculous, despicable liberal regime. I can't emphasize this anymore. The liberal regime has complete and total control of this government. They have total domination over the Congress and over the Senate, and they damn sure as hell got the executive branch. So why aren't we seeing the supposed progress and the supposed help and all this ridiculous malarkey that was promised during the presidential elections? You're not seeing it because that's liberalism, you stupid, dumb, idiot, Kool-Aid drinking pieces of no sense having ass clowns. And I don't mean to be getting so hyped up and getting a little vulgar here, but I think that the American public needs to be slapped upside their fat jelly-ass mouth into reality and start realizing that because of our lack of political activity, because our lack of participation in the political system, we are sitting here in a day and age where we are embracing generic humanism. We are embracing a dumbed-down America instead of trying to embrace an America where we progress, where we dictate the levels of innovation like we used to. Anyway, I'm going to get off of that. Anyway, if you have anything that you want to chime in on, 646-652-4869 is the number to call. Once again, folks, I think it's hypocrisy when it comes to Barack Obama extending these provisions in the Patriot Act. That's just one of many, many contradictions within the liberal regime, and I just wanted to give it some airtime here because I want you all to add another mark in the contradiction book of this liberal regime. I think it's funny, you know. Back in the day when Bush signed in the Patriot Act and, was using these provisions, they called him Hitler, they called him a bad man, he was this, he was evil, he was a dictator, and now you've got Barack Obama in power, he's in the position to throw him away and make him a thing of antiquity, but no, what does Barack Obama do? He signs the provisions that George W. Bush passed, and he extends them tomorrow.
And now we've got an extension to the Patriot Act that the liberals were crying foul about 4 years ago. I mean, it's just disgusting. This is what I'm saying, folks. Don't listen to a liberal. Don't acknowledge these people. They're disgusting. 646-652-4869. We're going to move on to another subject matter here. And I want to talk about this Representative Joe Wilson. Now, I don't really particularly give two rat's asses about this representative. I think he's just some, sleazeball scumbag, from, I don't know, whatever state he's from, that's basically doing his own political maneuvering by yelling during Barack Obama's speech about health care and using the media blitz to add fuel to his campaign fire, if you know what I'm talking about. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I'd like for you to go take a look at his campaign contribution bank account and how big it's gotten since this moron, what did he yell? He yelled, "You liar," during a speech to a joint session of Congress about health care. You got this idiot Joe Wilson, right? And I think it's disgusting, first of all, that we've got politicians capitalizing on ridiculousness like this, all right? Now, I'm not a fan of Joe Wilson, and what I'm about to say may seem that way. That's why I wanted to have this little preamble about Joe Wilson, just to emphasize that I'm not a fan of this man, all right? But I find it ridiculously disgusting when we're living in a present-day America, when we're approaching 10% unemployment, and if you want my personal opinion, I think it's a lot more than that, but they're saying, according to the official statistics, 10% unemployment. You've got inflation going up the roof, folks, all right? I don't know if you've noticed the prices on everything from a loaf of bread to a gallon of gasoline, but everything has gone up in price. And meanwhile, the median income and the spending power of the American person has gone down. Now, why is this, folks? Because we have a liberal regime that's not considerate of continuing the idea of the American dream. They want to instill bureaucratic power that enables those who, for whatever reason, would rather have bureaucratic, systems being the supposed upper class of a society than allowing the free market to take its course. All right? Now, what I'm saying by making this preamble is that the more and more that you see this liberal regime that's in power, the more and more that you witness what they do while they're in power, just goes to show you that these people are not men and women of the people. Now, before I get on to this Joe Wilson stuff, once again, I want to emphasize we are at 10% unemployment. We got inflation going through the roof. According to Bernanke yesterday at some, stupid little luncheon, he said that the recession is nearly over. I don't think it's over. Okay, we're still a service-oriented economy, service industry-oriented economy. We don't produce anything besides cheeseburgers and entertainment, and we're even losing those industries to foreign workers and foreign labor. I mean, we're in serious trouble here in America. Meanwhile, the people that should be helping the people that are in the bureaucratic power and positions to help the people, instead of enacting legislation that's going to initiate investment from the private sector so that they can initiate some sort of investment from the private sector into research and development, instead of doing things that are going to enable actual economic growth, they are wasting taxpayer money and time rebuking. The Congress actually wrote some sort of stupid resolution. They actually took time and voted on this nonsense to rebuke this stupid redneck Joe Wilson for saying "you liar" during the joint session of Congress and Barack Obama's speech to the Congress about health care. I think it's rather disgusting that we're in such economic precarious times and international precarious times, and the Congress has the time, the effort, the energy, and the money to rebuke some stupid moron that decided to, get his little 15 seconds of fame by saying "you liar" during a joint session of the Congress and an address by the President about health care. I mean, don't you find that ridiculous? I mean, I'm talking to you liberals. I know that the people with rational minds and the true conservatives, I mean, we already know it's ridiculous. I mean, it goes without saying when I ask them, but I'm asking you, you liberal piece of crap. I'm asking you, you feminist, muff-diving, Gloria Steinem-worshiping piece of trash. How can you legitimize this? How can you sit here and actually continue to sip on the Kool-Aid, continue to follow the liberal piper when you've got the liberal regime taking taxpayer time, money, and political effort to write up resolutions so that Joe Wilson can be rebuked. Big deal. I mean, this is what the liberal regime is doing here. Aside from allowing all the cronies that donated to the liberal campaigns of everybody who's in power via stimulus package 2, all of a sudden they're taking time away from when these lawmakers should be doing things to help the American people to rebuke Joe Wilson. I mean, it's just disgusting. I mean, but this is America, folks. This is it. This is it, and you know what? We're going to go ahead and segue right into what I was going to talk about, and we're going to talk about race relations. Now, there's a story off the Associated Press Hotwire where former President Jimmy Carter alluded to the fact that the Joe Wilson controversy had something to do with racism. That this is racism, all right? Oh, the reason Joe Wilson called the man a liar during a joint session of Congress was because it's racism. And you know what, folks? That's just not uncommon. If you happen to be a conservative, you happen to be a true conservative, or somebody in opposition of this liberal regime that's in power, if you happen to pose questions to liberals who attempt to give this crap legitimacy, that's the first card that comes out of their debating table propaganda tactic. All right? Racism.
You don't like Obama because you're a racist bastard.
That's exactly what they tell you. All right? You try to be critical of this liberal regime, that's the first card they pull out. Once you unearth the contradictions that is liberalism and feminism, all of a sudden they pull out that race card.
The reason you're talking that way against Obama is because you're a racist.
I was actually talking to some lady, a couple of weeks ago, and this was actually before Barack Obama decided to act like, the Third Reich or something, and decided he wanted to address personally every child in America. Every child in America. And I mean, it just caused an uproar with all kinds of folks. And I wasn't particularly too happy with it either. I find it particularly disturbing when you have the President of the United States taking time out of the days of children's learning, when he could address the children via after-school special, via primetime television special, this is it. But instead, he decided to address every American student in every public education arena in America. And I wasn't particularly happy with that. So I was in one of my places of business and actually had a heated debate with a lady who was disgusted with me because I wasn't appreciative of Barack Hussein Obama talking to our children. she was trying to tell me that,
it's a good thing that Barack Obama's talking to our children because he'll give them encouragement. He'll tell the children a lot of good things, and they'll be inspired by it. He's a good role model.
In my head, I'm thinking to myself, Bimbo, don't you understand that there's no need to intertwine politics with the educational arena? I mean, if a child wants to be political, they should have that right to be individually political. If they want to listen to the president, they should have the option to listen to the president. I mean, that's how our political system works. And that's what I was trying to get across to this stupid, dumb, idiot woman that I was actually trying to debate with here in my place of business. And she was actually defending that.
I think it's a great thing that Obama's going to address our children. It's going to be great.
I mean, she kept on and on and on. And I was telling her that as much as these liberals try to separate church and state, these liberals love to just completely use that terminology to the nth degree. I mean, they don't even want children to pray. All right, they don't even want children to go into a circle and start praying, because if they do that, they get suspended. I mean, they don't even allow children in some parts of the country to celebrate Christmas anymore. This is how ridiculous this is getting. But the conservatives, the true conservative people, just have to sit there and they take it. They just got to grin and bear it, right? But once the conservatives, and I'm talking about the true conservatives, once they start questioning the reasoning why Barack Hussein Obama wants to address our children personally during a time when they're most vulnerable, when they're away from their parents and in the hands of educators, which isn't much better, why would you want to address our children? And I mean, that's a valid point. I mean, and once I posed this to this dumb Nimrodic bimbo, what did she say?
Sir, I think the reason that you're unhappy with Barack Obama talking to the children is because he's a black man.
What? Yeah, and she had to repeat it because, I just couldn't believe what she was trying to insinuate about me,
I just think that you're, maybe a little bit racist because it's a black man talking to all the children.
And you know what, folks? It has nothing to do with race. But you know what's really funny? You would think that because a black man is now president, that race relations would get a lot better in America. There wouldn't be as much racial tension, people wouldn't be crying, racial foulness as much any longer. I mean, there is no more glass ceiling for any ethnicity in this country at this point. And yet it seems to me that we are getting even worse when it comes to our race relations, all right? I mean, it's getting completely worse. I mean, you can't have a debate with a liberal nowadays because all of a sudden it's the race card, right? Oh, you're a racist. You can't handle a black man being president. You're a racist. And, folks, it has nothing to do with being a racist. Now, I'm going to say some racially charged things here within the next few moments that may get some liberal panties in a bunch, that may make some ethnic minority groups cringe a little bit. But, folks, that's about enough, all right? I'm sick and tired of having to walk around eggshells because of,
race and, the woman, you can't be anti-woman,
shut your mouth, all right? We are living in the modern day and age, all right? We're not living in the past any longer, all right? We're not living in the past any longer. We are in a new progressive America, and I don't mean progressive in the political sense. I mean progressive in a unified country sense. All right, we're beyond,
it's you're not hiring me because I'm black.
None of that crap. You're not hiring me because I'm a woman. I mean, we're through with that already. We got women CEOs, we got women construction workers, cops, we got African Americans or black people, whatever you want to be called. You know, we got them everywhere in society. Entrepreneurs, presidents, politicians, teachers. And you know what, folks? I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit and be a little bit candid about race in America, in my personal perspective. And for all the folks, especially for you idiots that continue to make YouTube videos at me, all right? You make YouTube videos out of me and post them all over the Internet. I want you to post this one, all right? Post this one. Post what I'm about to say right after this. Now, I'm sick and tired of the race card, all right? Now, I think that what I'm about to say, you know, it may be construed as a little bit racist. It may be construed as a little bit racially charged. But I assure you, folks, I am not a racist man, all right? I'm a business owner. I have black employees, all right? And I hire them based upon their ability and based upon their competence, all right? If they're competent people. I don't care about race, but because everyone insists on making race an issue, you got poverty pimps like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson and all these Nimrods out here insistent on inflaming the race relations situation in America instead of actually progressing it. All right? Now, I don't know if you folks are familiar with the modern-day urban comedy, but I strongly advise you folks to, if you have the stomach for it and you want to palate it, I want you to watch some of this Def Comedy Jam crap, all right? I want you to watch First Amendment comedy show, you know, and these are African-American or black comedies, all right? And every damn comic that comes up on there, hey, man, it's cracker, Whitey, kill Whitey, cracker. I mean, it's just unbelievable racism, black racism on white people. And they don't just limit it to white folks. I mean, they're talking about Mexican people, talking about Chinese people. They talk about every race in the book. And occasionally, if you ever watch these ridiculous programs, and I do because I like to keep myself abreast about pop culture in America, if you attempt to, by any chance, to see a white comedian or somebody who's other than the black persuasion attempt to go on one of these Def Comedy Jams or First Amendment black comedy shows, and they attempt to get just a slight bit racial, you have these idiots in the audience that are probably collecting, you know, let's be honest, they're probably collecting government subsidies to even be at that joint. You have these people yelling up a storm, you a racist bastard. You can't say that. You can't do that. I mean, it's just unbelievably disgusting, all right? I find it funny that you know, these First Amendment and Def Comedy Jam shows, cracker, you know, Whitey, you know, talking about all kinds of just ridiculous filth, and it's racially charged comedy, all right? And yet when someone attempts to be critical of the African-American community, because let me tell you something, folks, let's be honest, all right, and I'm gonna speak frankly to the African-American community here. You got some problems, all right? I mean, now, and you can look back in my archive, folks, I have shown extreme compassion to the African-American community. I've had many shows pertaining to the race relation issue. As a matter of fact, I was asked to speak on an African-American Democratic liberal show on this program and had some tremendous African-American discourse about race relations in America. But folks, the bottom line is that we got to get over this racial crap, all right? I mean, look, you notice how, and I'm talking to the black folks, all right? You notice how when you say cracker, we don't really care, all right? We you know, using your terminology, we dust our shoulders off when it comes to that ridiculous nonsense, all right? Now that we have, acknowledged the racial strife of blacks in America, now that we have acknowledged, the progress of African Americans in America, now that we have a black president, I think it's about time to take that race card and shove it up your ass, all right? I mean, take the race card and shove it up that clogged up shit funnel that you continue to blow out. I mean, I'm sick and tired of hearing the race card, folks. I'm sick and tired, and the liberals use it to the fullest advantage now. All right? I mean, the liberals use it to the fullest advantage. Now, I'm going to be a little critical of the African American community, all right? Let's be frank, all right, folks? I know a lot of African Americans are black people. I mean, the folks that I speak with, they don't even like to be called African Americans. They think it's a liberal, politically correct terminology, and they think it's condescending. They think it's ridiculous. So I'm going to say black people, all right? I talk to affluent black people that are conservative. These are conservative folks. I don't know if you know any of the older black African American, whatever you want to call this group of demographic. If you talk to older black people, these people are conservative. All right, they go to church every Sunday. They believe in family. All right, they appreciate the conservative principles. I mean, they really don't believe in all the malarkey that's going on and so prevalent in the African American or black community today. And I don't know if you folks are familiar with black history. I am. All right, I actually know about black history, unlike most of these idiots who tout the race card every 5 minutes. I actually know about black history, and you know what? The African American community wouldn't have been nothing, wouldn't have been anything. They'd still be in slavery out here if it hadn't have been for the contributions of not only affluent and great, articulate, and smart black men, but they would have also had not been anywhere thanks to white men that now are the names of prevalent colleges now. All right? I don't even want to go into all that, but folks, I've shown compassion to the African American. I had a show 2 years ago about how the Democratic Party was birthed upon racism. The Democratic Party was the party that created the Ku Klux Klan. The Republican Party were actually the first abolitionists out here on the scene. All right, conservatives were out here actually advocating for freedom during the time when, slavery was prevalent. And now the Democrats, the supposed now men and women of the people, now they've tried to dust their shoulders off when it comes to the Ku Klux Klan nonsense. They dusted their shoulders off when it comes to being the Dixiecrat Party. They dusted their shoulders off when it comes to that. And now they're men and women of the people. And now they're using the race card every 5 minutes. When you talk to conservative black older folk, they don't really agree with what's happening here, all right? They don't really agree with what's happening here. This idea of hip-hop culture, I find it funny that the African-American people, the black people, I know I said I was going to stop saying African-American, but the damn political correctness and the bombardment of political correctness obviously rubs off subconsciously. But the black people who actually consider hip-hop culture any kind of a contribution to human enlightenment and actually accredit that as African or as black culture are ridiculous. All right? It's ridiculous because don't you understand that it was Jewish and white people that propped up this idea of hip-hop culture and rap culture. Don't you know that most of the rappers out here, 50 Cent, and I don't mean to pick on that dumbass 50 Cent, but all those other dumbass rappers out here, these idiots were never gangsters. They never lived all the malarkey they rapped about upon their records, all the drive-by shootings and pimping hoes and all this crap, sagging their pants. They never did any of that crap. So, I mean, my question to the black community, and of course I've never gotten an answer to this because they can't answer it, how can you sit here and continue to cry racism when you've got folks within your own race that are getting upon a medium like entertainment and exploiting the but the black strife in America, all right? The black strife in America. These people are exploiting it to a T, making millions of money off of it, millions of dollars of money off of it, and there's no kind of, since I made it, I'm going to give back. There's no giving back. I mean, once the black man or black woman is successful, they don't go back to help their black community, folks. All right? They don't, and I've asked them why. Why don't you go back and help your black community like they did in the 20s, folks? I read the autobiography of Malcolm X, which is a great book, by the way, folks. I strongly advise you to read the autobiography of Malcolm X. And the spirit of those who were successful in the Roaring 20s, the black people who were successful, they went back to Harlem. They went back to Harlem to try to help their fellow man out there and help the children that were left to hang out in the streets and that sort of thing. I mean, the whole concept of ebonics, folks, the whole concept of ebonics was put forth by black intellectuals to attempt to get folks at the time, in the 1920s, the African American, the black community was so subjugated at that time, and they were so racially divided that they didn't have the opportunity to get educated by a legitimate school. So it was a hard enough time for them to even speak. So the African American or the black intellectuals in the 1920s, that's where they comprised this new dialect of ebonics to help remedy the fact that most of the black people in the 20s and at the turn of the 20th century didn't know how to speak. They didn't know how to write. They didn't know how to read. They didn't even know how to sound out letters in phonetics. And it was the contribution of the black folks that actually went beyond, and this was during the racially charged time too, folks. I mean, there were black people that were able to somehow go beyond the the limitations of the time. And once they made it, once they achieved whatever it was, economic success, academic success, they went back to their community and made a contribution. But folks, I challenge you, if you happen to know a successful black man or a successful black woman, and you go up to them and ask them, why don't you go out and, help your fellow race or help your fellow African American, say African American because we're still living in a politically correct society, even though I think the damn term African American is condescending. But, ask them. Just ask them, well, why don't you go help them out? I mean, the African or black people lead the deaths and the HIV/AIDS cases. They lead, the amount of people that are in prison. Don't you think they need some help? Why don't you go out and help them, all right? Well, they're going to tell you what anyone would tell you if they were any race. It's just like me. You come up to me and say, hey, Ghost, why don't you go help the trailer trash? I don't like trailer trash, all right? I don't like cheese whiz guzzling trailer park rednecks. I don't like them. I don't want to help them, all right? They had just as much opportunity as I had to be a success in this country, so why is it my obligation to go out and help some trailer trash? Why should I help trailer trash? And that's exactly what the affluent or upper middle class African American or black American thinks about blacks in America today. I guarantee you go up to them and ask them. And it's not because they hate their own race. It's because look at the amount of progress that we have turned ourselves into as far as America. I mean, we are a successful country. We are the bastions of capitalism. We invented the idea of global economy. We can make something out of nothing in this country. But now we've got this idea, of collectivism instead of the individual. And now, we live in a day and age where we are pussy pampering losers, all right? And this is why I'm saying, folks, we need to wake up. And I'm talking about the hard-working people in America, the folks that go out every day and bust their asses to support their families, they pay their taxes, and they don't commit any kind of crimes. I'm talking to those folks right there. We need to understand that we are witnessing a era in American history where we are pussy pampering losers. All right? If you're a drug addict, it's okay. We'll go ahead and put you in a government-funded rehab center. No questions asked. Don't worry about it. We'll feed you. We'll clothe you. We'll give you a bed. We'll even give you a shit stall to go and take a poop in. Come on down. It's okay. Are you a single mother? Don't worry about it. If you happen to shit out 8 kids from 8 different fathers, not only will we give you $8,000 a month in government subsidies, we'll go ahead and allow you to play the child support lottery system. Welcome to America, folks. Welcome to America. And then when you, try to sit here and be critical, all right? You try to be critical of this situation in America. If you try to be critical of the liberal regime that's in power and their blatant hypocrisy, all of a sudden, even white liberals are going to call racism the race card. It's the racism, the race card. You shut your mouth, all right? I think we need to move beyond racism, folks, all right? I think we need to move beyond racism. I mean, we got a freaking hate crime bill, folks, which I'm not too particularly happy with. When Bill Clinton was in office, we have something called a hate crime bill, all right? Now, let me explain something to you. That means if anyone does any kind of racially charged crime, or if anybody, beats somebody up because they're, homosexual or something, some kind of group-oriented hatred, you can be sentenced an extra 10 years in prison, all right? And there are situations where black people and white people are being put in prison because they happen to yell a racial slur in a fight, and because they yelled a racial slur in a fight, they got an extra 10 years in prison added to their sentence, folks. So I don't want to hear that, we still got racial plight in America. We don't got crap, all right? Anybody who, says anything, that's what it is. It's a freedom of speech, all right? If people are racist, big deal. They're stupid racist, all right? I mean, you can see those dumbass racist people coming a mile away. All right? I'm sick and tired of this pussy pampering that we're given to this race idea. All right? Let's no longer acknowledge it anymore. All right? Let's not even acknowledge it any longer. And I'm seeing here in the chat room, people are saying that the hate crime bill is a bunch of bull. You're goddamn right, it's a bunch of bull. All right? I mean, it's disgusting. I'm not saying that people should be beat up based on race, based on gender, based on sexual orientation. I don't think any violence should be inflicted upon anybody. But if unfortunate violence is inflicted upon people, don't we have a law system that deals with these people? I mean, can't we put these people away for assault or murder and, give them the chair the regular way instead of, putting on this ridiculous hate crimes bill? I mean, which is just utter nonsense. It's just utter crap. All right? It's utter garbage. But now that we've got this hate crime bill, that's why I don't really want to hear about race relations or race, racism. I don't want to hear about it anymore. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of the race card being played, and I don't think that anybody has the legitimacy to play it any longer. I mean, that's all there is to it. You've got Jimmy Carter and his prostate-infected ass coming, out here off the hot wire, off the Associated Press, claiming that,
the reason Joe Wilson, yelled, "You liar," during the address to Congress by the president was because he's a racist, huh? Racist. I mean, it's just disgusting, folks. I mean, black people, and I'm addressing all you black people. Look, I've had shows in the past trying to, put a spotlight on black strife. All right? I mean, you can look back at my archive, folks, but at this point in time, it's starting to get a little ridiculous, all right? It's starting to get a little pathetic. I think you need to do some soul searching within your own race before you start crying racism, all right? And let me highlight some of the things that you black folks could really, sink your teeth into and actually help yourselves about. First things first, black folks, I think that you need to end this idea of embracing hip-hop as some sort of black contribution to human enlightenment. All right? Stop legitimizing it and stop trying to emphasize the vernacular that's coming out of the hip-hop community. We don't need to hear it. It's ridiculous. It only emphasizes the stereotypes that the black people in America are trying to get away from. They're trying to get away from successful black people that are legitimate people in America that are employing people in America, that are judges, that are lawyers and doctors. They don't want to be affiliated with the stereotypes that are being produced and mass manufactured via the entertainment industry. All right, I'm sick of hearing it. I'm sick of seeing 50 Cent and all these supposed hip hop pop culture idiots like this stupid drag queen Wendy Williams. Queen Latifah, all these morons that got famous via, either related to hip-hop, covering hip-hop, or as a hip-hop artist. I think it's repulsive. It's repulsive. They are crippling not only their own people, but they are crippling America by legitimizing this idea of gangsterism, of hip-hop culture. And what does hip-hop culture represent? What does it present to the people? Oh, let's go out and let's go throw a train on a girl. Let's me and 8 of my buddies have sexual relations with this little girl over here. Oh, let me go ahead and bust some caps because this fool, is set tripping. All right? I mean, this is it. All right? That's first and foremost, folks. I mean, stop legitimizing hip-hop. All right? I mean, the African-American community needs to start facing up to the facts. All right? You need to realize that you are contributing to your own racism. All right? And white people are contributing to, you hating them too. So I'm going to get to that in a minute. But you are contributing to your own racism. So, as far as all the black people are concerned, you want to stop the hatred, or at least put a good dent in the hatred of your race. Why don't you get that hip-hop crap and get it the hell out of here? I mean, not only has it ruined your society, folks, all right? Not only has hip-hop ruined your society in the inner cities, but it's brought the supposed inner-city life to suburban America. You've got idiot white kids that are in upper-middle to high-class societies actually sipping on Old English 8-Ball and, smoking on Philly blunts and busting caps on each other because they actually believe that they are creating some sort of a street life environment that is directly induced by hip-hop. All right? So stop acknowledging, all right? Stop acknowledging hip-hop. The second thing, folks, for the black people, start acknowledging that unless you help yourself as a race, maybe you need to stop complaining. With all due respect, all right? Maybe you should start realizing, hey, wait a minute. The leading cases of HIV and AIDS are in the African-American community. They lead the numbers. African Americans, the highest demographic to have HIV/AIDS.
the average black man lives to be 54 years old, folks. Yeah. The average black man lives to be 54, and there's something wrong with that there. There's something wrong with both of those statistics, and I've brought both of those statistics up for debate on my show many a times, and yet, of course, none of the African-American or black supposed mouthpieces out here want to acknowledge either of those statistics. They don't even want to touch those statistics. Because that's what makes these black mouthpieces. You know, these poverty pimps like Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson. Not Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson was Mr. October. Sorry. No offense, Reggie. He was a good baseball player, by the way. But anyway, Jesse Jackson, you know, these poverty pimps that are out here that claim to be, we're for the people and we need to help you out, and racism here and racism there. They don't want their people to progress. They don't want their people to progress. They want them to stay down because constant struggle gives them legitimate power within their eyes, folks. All right? I mean, you know, this is what we need, all right? This is what we need. We need a real dialogue about race relations. Another thing I'd like to say about the black community is that your black women, all right? Your black women are losing their black men. You know, I don't know if you people are familiar with this epidemic that's happening. I'm sure if you're an African-American or black person, you know what I'm speaking of. But African-American or black women are not necessarily going out and hooking up with those of their same race, and neither are black men. Black men are also going out and, you know, trying to get themselves a blonde-headed cave girl. That's what they like to call them. They're trying to go out and, you know, intermix with the races. So, I mean, once again, you're contradicting your whole black unity and your black racism and all this malarkey when you're going out and trying to intermix with the races. Now, I'm not against intermixing of the races. I'm not against it. You can do what you want. This is America. But once again, stop crying racism then, all right? Stop crying. It's over, all right? No one is suffering strife in this America, all right? I mean, yeah, you know, so what? You'll hear some stupid three-toothed redneck call you the N-word, or you'll have somebody, you know, call you, you know, whatever, you know, jigaboo, whatever they want to call you. Big deal. Dust your shoulders off with that crap. They're stupid rednecks, all right? They're dumb rednecks. Get over it. It's done. It's over. All right? I mean, let's just get over this. And what the black community needs to understand is they need to do some soul searching within themselves. Why are black men going for white or Latin or Chinese women or Asian women, I should say? Excuse me. I mean, why are black women no longer going for black men? I mean, this is an epidemic. I mean, even Tyler Perry talks about it in his stupid little dumbass movies. Actually, doesn't really talk about it. He makes fun of it. I mean, and it's not a joking matter. I mean, if you're going to continue to sit here and say, oh, baby, it's racism. I mean, you a racist bastard. You know what I mean? You just some dumbass racist motherfucker. If you're going to continue to cry that, well, then start acknowledging problems within your own culture, within your own black race, folks. All right? I mean, that's all I'm saying. And what do I mean by that? I'm talking about, you know, these obvious statistics that need to be rectified. I'm talking about the average black man living to be 54 years old. I mean, that's a horrible statistic. Horrible. But, I mean, do you hear anybody talking about that? No, they're not talking about that. All right? Do you hear people talking about how the leading jail population is African American? No, or black people? No, you don't hear about that. No, they want to sit here and cry racism whenever they see fit here. I mean, you know, let's talk about progressing people instead of haltering people into pigeonholes and subjugating them. How about that? Anyway, 646-652-4869. We're talking about race relations in America, and I'm speaking about, how we need to just get over this race crap. All right, everyone that's in here crying foul, particularly now that the liberals having a black president. They're throwing racism every time you expose liberal and feminist contradictions. You've got these liberals and these feminists crying racism now. It's getting disgusting. And we're talking about how, in the African-American or black community, they need to start looking inward, all right, before they start crying racism once again. I mean, there's no reason to cry. It's over. It's done. Racism is now dead, all right? All right, so what? You have to hear some cheese whiz guzzling trailer park living redneck, say some racial slurs. Big deal. If any white person or yellow person or red person, if any person lays their finger upon you based on racial hatred, they get an extra 10 years added to their sentence, all right? Anyway, we're going to take a call here from the 253 area code. You're on the air. What's going on?
Yeah, this is Critic.
How you doing, Critic?
Well, I'm hanging in there, and I'm glad you're having this discussion about racism, the serious discussion.
Absolutely.
Tonight, and I, speaking of myself as a black man, I tend to agree with a lot of what you're saying about a lot of this stuff and a lot of the hypocrisy that's going on.
Absolutely. I mean, it is blatant hypocrisy. I'm not trying to make light of the black strife in Americans' history. But at this point, we need to understand that a lot of the reasons that African American or black people are subjugated in present-day society, it has a lot to do with their own subjugation, their own willingness to fall hook, line, and sinker with, things like hip-hop and, this idea of, lifestyle and the down low thing. I mean, we can go on and on about a variety of different factors on why the black community is deemed subjugated in this present day, and I find it disgusting that we can continue to play the race card in this modern day and age when at the same time we've got the race that's being played here is not being helped in any of these debates. And I'd like to know what you think about that also.
Well, as far as, I'll get to Obama in a second about what's going on here, but, you said something about, hip-hop music or something like that, and I'd like to classify what the really nasty stuff is this gangster rap is really what it is. But, the corporate whore media likes to portray it as if somehow that represents all of the black community and everybody that's in there. Well, excuse me, now there are a lot of black people that do denounce that kind of stuff.
Certainly, I know some personally.
Bill Cosby is one of them. I personally, I don't want to give away my age, really, even though it was a little older in my generation, I grew up on old school R&B. Aretha Franklin is my favorite singer, but, I like Gladys Knight, The Temptations, Al Green, I like all of that stuff.
That's great music.
I grew up on all that, and I like other kind of music too. I like some of the rock and some of the folk singers. I like even some of the old school country and stuff. So, this thing that somehow gangster rap is representative of all of the black community is a lot of nonsense.
No,
a lot of blacks.
Absolutely, and I don't want to, make anyone believe that I am encapsulating an entire demographic of people.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. And what I was about to say about that, but then a lot of the black people that embrace that old kind of stuff, like you were talking about that old 50 Cent and some of these other old stupid people, Snoop Doggface or whatever the hell his name is.
And Kanye, I forgot to talk about Kanye. We're supposed to be talking about Kanye also.
Just sit up there and talk about that old kind of stuff. And do they realize that stuff, is nasty? Every time you turn around, it's about bitches, booty, and bling and all of this kind of stuff and repeating that over and calling people bitches and hoes. What is that? That is absolutely nasty. And it has absolutely nothing to do with representing our culture. And it's about a bunch of people just using our culture to try to exploit and make money off of it. You can talk about women and you can talk about the strife of your community without being that degrading. Look at Curtis Mayfield and Stevie Wonder were a pioneer of that kind of music. So
that's great examples there.
So this business about that being representative of the black community in a whole, I mean, to me, that kind of really pisses me off, quite frankly, because it's certainly not the kind of music I grew up with. It's not the kind of music that I like. Even when that stuff really started to become popular, in my, I don't want to give my age away, sort of my generation, but a little younger. you know, I didn't care for that stuff and didn't listen to it. I was still listening to old school R&B. In fact, most of the music that I have is on vinyl records and record players. To tell you the truth,
I hear you on that one.
But you know, this thing with Obama, didn't you know how funny when he was campaigning all through his campaign and all the white liberals that supported him, all the serious issues of race that you just brought up, they wouldn't go anywhere near it. Oh, we don't want to talk about the past. We're transcending everything. It's all about the young. You know, he didn't want to say anything about it. He would give speeches about Black America. There's no such thing as that anymore. We're 90% of the way there. You know, nice utopian speeches and stuff. And then when he was elected, it was like, oh, we've now, and you heard a lot of white progressives saying this, a lot of white liberals, oh, we've now overcome. Racism is a thing of the past. Now all of a sudden you criticize him. Now all of a sudden you're racist, you're a Nazi, you're an astroturf,
absolutely,
you're a redneck, you're an evildoer. Now that's all they're screaming now that you're criticizing. I mean the hardcore Kool-Aid drinkers, the hardcore people that are doing
certainly, and I come across them many times whenever I'm attempting to facilitate political discourse with anyone out here in America. Once you become critical of not only just Obama but the liberal regime that's in power, any liberal or feminist will right away, once you unearth the contradictions that are within this regime, right away the racism card comes out, and it just inflames a racial situation that doesn't even need to be in existence any longer, given the fact that we've got the Civil Rights Act, hate crime bills. We've got things that deal with idiots living in the past, thinking that this is Ku Klux Klan days. We've got laws for that. So to sit here and continue to coddle the political correctness issue of racism, I mean, look, I'll acknowledge the strife of the black community. But once again, we live in a society where every individual is held accountable. And I think that we need to, if the black community wants to yell racism and continue to make that a factor within their community, I think they need to fix their community, because it's just horrible, these statistics that I read. The average black man living to be 54, the amount of colon cancer that is stricken to black men. I mean, black men have it rough in America. I mean, they have it rough. I mean, the statistics of how many black men are being put in prison because of, a basic cop just said he said he did something. I mean, the amount of harassment that's happening with African American or black people in America is still at an astronomical level. But at the same time, I mean, it's that way for other ethnic groups. I mean, just imagine the Asian folks and hell, the Mexican folks, the Mexican American folks. I'm not talking about those damn immigrants, but the Mexican American folks that were 3-4 generations in. They're being lumped together. So it's all around encompassing. What I'm saying is you got to be self-reflective and be able to help yourselves from there. And then once you acknowledge and try to remedy those imperfections, that's when you can cry foul, in my view.
Well, here's the thing, and, you being from Texas and down south, and I'm sure you've heard the black community down there will say this, and this has been my experience. If you're going to deal with racism, I would rather deal with the outright blatant racism that I know, with somebody coming up to my face and calling me a nigger, than some two-faced, phony-ass liberal or, what have you, smiling and grinning and pretending that they're my friend in my face and then going off behind my back, cutting me up and saying nigger over, behind my back over and over again. And that's,
certainly.
And I'm sorry, but I find a lot of these so-called racists or these so-called, condescending white liberals that do this. And, what I said about this thing, with Obama is a prime example of that. And you hear them all over Blog Talk Radio, and they act like now all of a sudden they are the ambassador of the black community, and, they know how it is.
Oh, yeah, let me tell you, that is getting really disgusting with me. When you hear white, pale-faced liberal idiots actually trying to identify with the black strife, I'm sure you being a black American, it probably has to repulse you, given the fact that, and I'll acknowledge the fact that, white people have a little bit easier, given the fact, maybe not up to this point, But in the past, white people had a lot easier than black people in America. And I think we've come a long way from that. And I think that instead of continuing to live in the past, we should progress to the future and start understanding each other, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. We need to start acknowledging that we're American people. We need to pledge allegiance to the Constitution and to America and deal with it in that fashion. If we continue to bicker with ourselves about racism and intertwining race with politics, I think it's a recipe for disaster, and I'm already seeing this recipe unravel before my eyes here.
Well, see, that's what Obama was meant to do, was to cause a lot of this race strife. Now, if it had been Hillary Clinton, then everybody would have been saying that you were a sexist. But, but see, this is the thing. This is the thing in how they do this kind of stuff. They're saying that they're not racist. It's all Republicans, conservatives, whatever. As I've told you before, I'm neither. I don't believe in all that label stuff. But Democrats can't be. I mean, if you go back and look at the history of that party, and look at what happened here recently with the Clintons using that race card against Obama. Not that I'm defending him.
No, hey, I was actually on this program during that time, and I was making the observation that the Clintons were trying to turn Barack Obama into a ghettoized candidate via these words that they were issuing, these code words. You know how politics are.
And
I mean, you use certain key words to, conjure up certain visualizations in people's heads, and they were blatantly during the South Carolina primary, and from then on, it just became racially charged thereafter.
And especially Bill growing up down there in Arkansas and stuff, exactly who he was targeting that stuff at. So, for them to sit there and say that it's all coming from one side, you have a party that had a lot of Dixiecrats in there. You have somebody in there, Robert Byrd, who was a former member of the KKK that's in there, who's still in the Senate.
He's still a blatant racist, by the way.
Yeah, he still used those words. I mean, look at all of these people that were in there before. So, for them to sit there, I mean, it is really condescending, and it really is irritating to me how they sit there and try to act like that they're the ambassadors and they know what all this strife is. Well, you're the same liberal that was sitting here saying that we will overcome all of this when Barack Obama is in there, but now all of a sudden that we oppose his policies, now all of a sudden everybody is a racist redneck. Well, how could that be? Number one, we're only 12% of the population here in this country, approximately, and we've got approximately about 300 million people here. So, that's approximately 36 million. If you take a look at the people that actually vote, they're old enough, because there are a lot of blacks that don't vote because they feel disenfranchised, and the ones that are old enough, let's say about approximately 9 million voted for Barack Obama. Well, he got over 64 million popular votes. So the majority of us that may have voted did not vote him in the office alone. So that means that there were a lot of white, a lot of Hispanics, a lot of Asians, what have you,
Certainly.
that also voted him in there too. So to sit there and say that, because you're right, you must be racist if you oppose Obama is ridiculous on its face itself. Just, using the numbers, doing the math. That doesn't make any sense.
I agree with you. As a matter of fact, we got some people here with their hands up, and I'm pretty sure they want to chime in. Maybe we can get ourselves a liberal in here, and maybe they can justify what's happening with the race card being played when it comes to debating politics. 307, you're on the air.
I'm from Wyoming.
What's that, sir?
I'm from Wyoming. This is Dave.
How you doing, Dave?
I'd like to say that's one smart man you're just talking to. He's a very intelligent man. And I am a redneck, by the way. And I don't think it's about races anymore. I think it's about jobs.
I agree. I mean, we've been talking about this, especially on this program. We've been talking about that for 2 years, and no one is remedying the damn economic danger that we still have here in America with a lack of jobs, lack of production, a lack of manufacturing, a lack of anything. And the attempt at remedying that problem is what the liberal regime has put forth, more government crap.
Well, I don't know about you, but I don't know what your background is, but I'm 157. I don't know what my background is. I know I'm Irish and English, But, as Andrew Jackson said, I don't know who jumped the fence back then. And the truth is, it's all about us having jobs, our people having jobs, and us supporting our families.
I agree.
I don't give a damn where, excuse my French, but I don't give a damn where you are from. It's all about us taking care of our families. You look at Michigan, you look at Detroit, you look at all the fucking, the Rust Belt, and our country's going to hell.
I've been trying to say this for 2 years, sir, and everyone still thinks that everything's fine and dandy. People are more worried about John and Kate plus 8 than they are worried about their own economic stability and political situation in this country. What do you got to say about that, critic, what this gentleman's saying here about the economy?
Well, yeah, it's a lot of different things. The economy included, but there's a host of issues that people are angry about. The government intrusion of all of our lives, civil liberties that are being lost. The economy. It's a whole host of things. And, all of these things that Obama ran on and he said that he was going to change and all of this stuff, they all rebuked Bush over it, and rightfully so. Not only is he continuing the same damn policies, but he's expanding it. And where are these so-called liberals on this now? I bet you will not, what you talked about earlier about the Patriot Act and him re-signing it on, I bet you will not hear one of these talking heads on the radio or TV say anything about that. All they've been talking about is so-called health, and they're still talking about so-called health care, despite everything that's happened.
Oh, and that health care debate is really getting ridiculous. And what's unfortunate is that you've got most people actually believing. They actually believe that this is a universal health care bill that's actually being proposed out here in the House and the Senate, when in actuality it's an extortion. It's a federal mandate to force people to buy health insurance, which in essence gives the health insurance industry entire control of the healthcare system. Is this reform? Is this what the change Obama was talking about?
Massachusetts-style healthcare is what it is. And if you ask any of these folks how much independent research they've done on their own, they cannot even tell you. No, they haven't, and except what they've listened to off of MSNBC or Randy Tokyo Rhodes or any of those idiots on the radio.
And then the campaign that the White House and the liberal regime is trying to spin this healthcare system about is just completely awful. It's making people believe that those that are against this so-called public option, which is a great terminology to use for that ridiculous option, by the way. But if you're against the public option, that you're against children, you're against poor people, you're against those that are disadvantaged. When the people themselves that are advocating for this ridiculous government-run rampant healthcare reform bill, they don't understand that. Why don't we, if you want true reform, get health insurance out of the patient end? Why don't we take health insurance out of health care altogether? And once again, before I let y'all chime in, if you want a model that is based upon, look at the cosmetic surgery industry. I think it's disgusting that some ditzy bimbo can go and get some idiot to pay for her, boob job, $2,000, a little over $2,000 to get new breasts. And I had a woman in here in my chat room the other evening say that it cost $9,000 to get a biopsy on one breast. And that's what her insurance was billed. And that's why her premiums went up. This is ridiculous. But you've got these insurance companies dictating the price of every procedure that is known to man. We need to get the healthcare industry or health insurance industry out of healthcare. Then that'll be true reform. Go ahead. Sorry.
How about turning the entire economy over to the Fed? Have you thought about that?
What's that?
Turn the entire economy over to the Fed. Like, do you want the entire economy is going to be governed by the Fed?
Well, yeah, there are talks about that allowing the Fed to become the regulatory overseer of all the financial business that's happening in America. And let me tell you, I'm not that big of a fan of that as well. But at the same time, I wouldn't want this government that can't even run a damn public education system to start printing out money and start. I mean, who the hell
They've
knows?
already done that. They've already done that. The dollar's trashed. That's a fact. The dollar's been trashed, and our dollar's going down. It's no longer even the reserve currency of the world now.
Oh man, you're talking to the choir here, man. I've been talking about that since 2 years ago. When everyone thought, and this was during the election, when everyone thought everything was gravy, and we got an old prostate-infected liberal in John McCain, and we've got Barack Obama, who can tell romantic speeches from a teleprompter. I was out here hollering about the economy, how we were about to crash, and thereafter we almost did crash. Don't get me wrong, I understand what's going on here, but the remedy to that is definitely not what we're doing currently.
The remedy is to rebuild our economy, is start getting real production back in this country, start rebuilding the Rust Belt, start reinvesting in America instead of letting these people go hungry and let these people, have nothing in the future except despair.
Well, yeah. That's a definite. Well, let me chime in. I'll let you chime in there, critic. That's one of the plans of the liberals. I mean, if you look at communism, and communism is definitely what this liberalism and feminism is rooted in. Communism utilizes struggle. It utilizes struggle as a maintain a sustaining power. So without struggle, their system, which is bureaucracy and communist dictatorship, would be rendered impotent. They didn't have any struggle. So of course you're going to see people struggling in this liberal-dominated regime, because the more people are struggling, the more propaganda they can put out about how they're the answers to the problem. When in actuality, we, individuals who can take initiative to go out and do something about things, are the ones that are the solution to this problem. Being more politically active and politically aware, and at the same time understanding that our economic interests are directly tied to our political interests. Go ahead, critic.
No, what I was just going to say is that obviously the folks that are in there have no interest in doing anything to solve the problem anyway. I mean, Barack Obama talked about change. Look at all of his administration. He's got nothing but these Clintonistas up in there. Tiny Tim Geithner and Larry Summers and all of these people who helped cause a lot of this mess to begin with. Now they're supposed to be the saviors, and he's suggesting that you turn over to the same people who helped cause this mess to be the saviors for us right now. They have no interest in seeing rebuilding the Midwest or anything like that. They want to suck everything up into all of the economy up into their little Ponzi scheme or whatever it is that you want to call it that's going on. They have no interest in this and helping us.
No, they certainly don't. And the reason they have no interest in helping the American people is because the American people, and I hate to keep saying this, with all due respect to you two gentlemen, the American people are a bunch of idiots. All right? They're more worried about the latest rodent on Paris Hilton's rotten crotch. They're more worried about Octomom and the latest kid that she's popping out of the oven. They're more worried about John and Kate's new haircut and all this crap than they are worried about their own political situation here in America. And it just boggles my mind that we live in such a free society where one can participate in the political process, and we have so many people who don't even care about it, who joke about it.
I disagree with you, because we do not live in a free society. The way that things are going now, we are not in a free society. We are in a socialist republic. We're not even in a republic. I apologize on that one. We are in a fascist society, and it's headed downhill very fast because they've divided the whites, the blacks, the reds, and everybody else against each other. And unless we get our heads together and realize that we're one people, we're screwed.
Well, I've been trying to advocate that for 2 years, and it seems that we're just getting worse. I mean, we're getting worse, especially with the racially charged garbage that the liberals and the feminists are trying to infuriate here. Every time you put the liberal in a corner intellectually, they holler out the race card as if they were Al Sharpton in a damn police beating proceeding.
Well, that's the only thing they have to say. Think about it. That's the only thing they have to say. Most people, all they care about is providing for their family right now. And it's, they used to say, when the middle class starts losing their stuff, that's when things are going to happen. Well, guess what? they started losing their stuff. Okay, you look back in the Midwest, the Rust Belt, and everything. Those people were very wealthy, or at least good middle class people. They started losing everything.
Yeah, but once again, sir, I hate to interject here, but once again, the folks that are crying foul now, they need to understand that they bear a little responsibility on why things are going awry here as of recently. They fell hook, line, and sinker with the cult of personality. They didn't understand the whole political process, and they decided to, use the political stage as their own, popularity contest, and decided to, vote for the person with the biggest wee-wee. And I hate to use such a euphemism, but, I mean, that's frankly what happened here. It was a pissing contest. There was no political substance backing up this past political election, this presidential election, and that's why we're in the situation we're in, and that's why people are suffering. That's why people lost their homes. We weren't fiscally responsible, and now that, people have to start being politically aware, now people are crying foul when they should be out there participating in the political process.
Well, 3 million people in Washington, D.C. complaining about Obama was kind of like a big foul to me.
Well, if you're talking about the Tea Party protest, I'm very critical about the Tea Party protest also, because once again, you have the liberals, of course, utilizing the race card whenever they're pitted up in a corner when it comes to a political debate. And you look at some of the individuals that are participating in these ruckus town hall debacles and these spectacles all over the country, and you look at, how these people are dressed, with the NASCAR bandana and a wife-beater T-shirt, it emphasizes what the liberals are trying to emphasize. And they're trying to emphasize that the folks that are against Obama are a bunch of racist rednecks. And with all due respect, go ahead.
They also got a controlled media, too, that they're not going to – see, that's one thing about blog radio and the rest of the Internet radio is it's only true medium anymore because all the other medium is controlled. And
I understand, sir, and let me tell you, I'm all over YouTube, I'm all over Google Video. I mean, I'm searching for the town hall spectacles, and the Tea Party protests, and with all due respect to the Tea Partiers, you need to have some self-respect for your presence. Half these people look like they just, hopped off of a bad episode of Hee Haw, and they're out here, writing signs that are misspelled. I mean, it doesn't look too good for the teabaggers, and I understand that they're not very happy with the administration. I'm not very happy with the administration, but they are only adding fuel to the fire, the racist fire, by participating in spectacles and protests, and they don't even have the common decency to wear some, clothing that isn't off the rack of a Walmart special.
Well, I think some of them have been
hold on, go ahead.
The way they tell them yes, they don't have the money to do it.
All right, well, go ahead, Critic. That is a good point, but go ahead, Critic.
No, I was going to say I think some of them have been co-opted by some of these fake-ass neocons, because there are some people out there that legitimately do have complaints and legitimately do have gripes. And then there are some out there that are just going along party lines and going about whatever talking head told them this or that or the other. But the bottom line with all of that is, and, the numbers officially came from Homeland Security, over 2 million, is that these are people that seriously have a problem either with this administration or with the way the government is being run, and that, all of these people who are trying to dismiss everyone, and there's some of them that are ridiculous. I agree with that. But the bottom line is that
I think the majority of the Tea Party are ridiculous. I mean, I don't mean to disrespect those that are trying to participate in their First Amendment privileges. Don't get me wrong, but to sit here and trying to amplify a certain position and trying to utilize civil disobedience like causing ruckuses at town halls and that sort of thing, the least you could do is have some kind of couth when it comes to presenting yourself to the public. A lot of these folks, and I don't mean to sound like I'm a jerk, but I mean, they're in wife-beater T-shirts. They're in, NASCAR headbands. They're in shorts, for heaven's sake. That's not the way to conduct yourself, in political protest, in my view. I mean, go and at least dress like an individual who has respect for themselves, let alone having respect for this country, in my opinion. I mean, that's just like the criticism I gave to the black community about what they do and how a lot of the stereotypes that are encapsulated with that community are fueled by the hip-hop phenomena and the embracing of that idealism as a culture.
Well, the thing is, what you got to understand is this, okay? A lot of people who are complaining about those were shipped in from Acorn and the rest of them, okay? And there's a lot of grassroots people coming up there. And, they could dress better. There's no doubt about that. But the point is, those are all voters, those are all Americans, and their opinions should be respected.
No, I respect their opinions, but, a lot of these people, especially during the town hall meetings, they were causing ruckus, when the politician was attempting to facilitate debate about the subject of health care. And what their premise is that they like their health care as it is. And, you've got to be some kind of an ass-clown moron to actually appreciate your health care as it is now. I mean, they're advocating to keep it as it is. I mean, that is an ill-informed individual. When it comes to the economy, we need jobs, but you need to understand that you need to provide a platform or at least approach the individuals that are supposed to be making these decisions about politics and about government officiating or government problems. They should initiate with the private sector, not create business out of nowhere, not to buy out GM and become a manufacturer, not to bail out banks. I mean, they should have initiated with the private sector and encouraged the private sector to initiate investment in research and development so that they could create solutions to problems that we all have and that we'll all consume in if they develop products that remedy these problems. But we're not doing that. Go ahead.
That's where I'm at odds with you on that one, is because if you give people good jobs and good industry, healthcare is moot because they will need people there to work and they will give them good healthcare. The point is, we don't have industry. We don't have the industry to recover from this depression we're in right now.
I agree. I've been saying that for 2 years, sir. I've been saying that for 2 years, and yet people are more worried about their latest stimulus package check that's going to come into the mail than they are worried about the latest industry that's going to be created to, develop some new jobs.
If they would have, instead of getting these rich-ass bankers with all their bailouts and all this other crap, the money, and started giving people money to start new industry.
Okay, sir. Well, once again, why are the bankers getting all the money?
Let's say because they basically control the Fed, and basically control the entire country.
I'll tell you why they're getting all the money. Because anyone who participates in the political system gets money, sir. I mean, you should read some of the earmarks that are set aside for supposed community activists and individuals.
Like Acorn and the rest of them. Yes, I've read them.
Not just that, individuals like Calvin Butts was allocated several $1 million by Hillary Clinton herself. All right, I can go on and on. Jesse Jackson, Al Sharpton. I mean, you can go on and on. Oh, that's why the bankers got bailed out, sir, because they're participating in the political process. And while all these American people are out here,
they got money to buy. They got money to buy the process.
That doesn't
people like you and I and anybody else don't have that kind of money.
It doesn't matter. They've got the gun. Look, sir, they've got the guns. We've got the numbers. But instead of us organizing ourselves and being actual political influence in the system, we just decide to go out and shovel food down our gullets like a damn garbage disposal, sit on our fat asses and watch some, gerbil up the anal passage having fruit bowl on American Idol, singing, this is how we do it. I mean, it's just ridiculous, sir. I mean, we are victims of our own success.
I agree with you. But I'm saying that America to succeed or even to continue, we've got to do an entire about-face, or we're going to be a third-world country.
I think we're already there, sir. I think we're a technocratic third-world country already.
Well, I think we're fascist But
well, let me tell you, I disagree with you, sir. Under fascism, and the only fascist model that we can look to is the Nazi model. During fascism, sir.
Wrong. You're wrong.
During fascism, sir, they allowed private enterprise to continue to flourish. They did not take over the government did not take control of the means of production.
Did you ever study Mussolini? What did he say about fascism?
And once again, exactly, corporatism. We're not in corporatism. We're in where the government
is. We got Obama Motors now. We've got
that's communism, sir. That's communism. That isn't fascism.
Yes, it's fascism because they took over it, just like Mussolini did. The point is, it doesn't matter what you want to call it. It's not Americanism.
No. It is a matter what you want to call it, sir. It is what you want to call it. It's ill-informed people, sir, that made this situation happen right now. It's ill-informed people that allowed Barack Obama to come into office. It was ill-informed people that allowed this liberal regime to take power, and that's why there is a big difference between fascism and communism.
You don't think George Bush helps trash the Constitution?
Absolutely. Well, how did he trash the Constitution, sir? People were burning
effigies.
People were burning effigies of him in a Hitler uniform every time he spoke at a town in America.
Yes, I agree with you. But how about the Patriot Act 1 and 2? You don't think that was...
Obama's about to extend that tomorrow. What's the difference?
Yeah.
I mean...
I agree. I don't see a difference between those two guys. I really don't see a lot of difference. He's just continuing what George Bush did. He's George Bush on steroids.
I've said that many times on this program, sir. What's your point?
Well, I guess I agree with you, okay?
I'm just saying, sir, that what we need to understand is that the reason that our government is not working for us is because we're more worried about our own economic gluttony than we are worried about our own political freedoms. And the only reason why we're in the situation that we're in currently is because we allowed it to happen.
Oh, I agree with you. But you know what? You're on this show right now, is you're trying to change things. The reason I'm talking to you is we're trying to change things. And you know what? There's a whole lot of people. All they care about, you're right, is about the Dick's pickup truck and their next.
All right. You know what, sir? We're going to have to let you go, sir. You sound like you've been sipping on a cheap bottle of hooch, and we can't even understand you. Hey, Critic, are you still there, sir?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm sorry. But this is what I'm talking about when it comes to an ill-informed public right here. An ill-informed public, they're all over the place. And granted, we have a lot of screwed up problems in America. But we need to understand what those problems are. We need to be educated. We need to understand that it's up to us, the numbers. We've got the numbers. And we need to come together as a unified front so that we can confront these, bankers who are basically loading up the bank accounts of these damn politicians that are selling us out.
Well, if you want to see that, just go to whitehouseforsale.org and look at how many lobbyist bundlers that Obama had. I mean, this is a man that raised $750 million, $750 million, to get a job that pays $400,000 a year. Now, that should tell you something in itself right there, what kind of interest that they had in him in advancing a lot of their agenda that's going on. He got twice as much money as John McCain and 4 times the amount of Wall Street money that John McCain did. Not that John McCain wasn't corrupt.
Well, of course not.
But that in itself should, or just go to opensecret.org and put any candidate, whether it's your congressional or your senator, or I think you can even put local candidates in there and see where a lot of their contributions come from. I mean, that tells you.
Yeah, can you say those one more time so folks can get a little educated on what's going on with their politician?
Well, for the last presidential race, you can go to whitehouseforsale.gov, and it has all the candidates that ran in there in the 2 major parties. And when you first click on there, you'll see John McCain and Obama, but you can also click on the others, and you'll see Obama had over 606 lobbyist bundlers, and 35 of them were mega bundlers. See some of his top contributors: Goldman Sachs, Lehman Brothers, MSNBC, all the insurance industries. Or
MSNBC? Are you kidding me? No.
Yeah, they did. Both him and Hillary Clinton got big contributions from them. Especially Hillary Clinton. I think Hillary actually got a little bit more than he did. But yeah, big contributors. Or if you want to go and look at other candidates, senators or Congress people, or I think you can put your local candidates like your governors, your state legislators. You can go to opensecrets.org, I believe that is, and see where their money train is flowing from. So that tells you who's running your Congress and your Senate. That tells you who's running your legislative, and it tells you why they have.
I've been telling people this for 2 years, going on 3 years on this program, Critic, and it seems to go into one ear and out the other. These people want to play little stupid games when it comes to political issues. They want to, it's literally my politicians' wee-wee is bigger than your politicians' wee-wee. And I hate to be so facetious about it, but that's exactly what modern-day politics is. Instead of worrying about issues that affect us all as American people, we're more worried about cult of personalities, what people can say and how they can read a teleprompter or something of that nature. It's really disgusting. Anyway, Critic, I was going to actually, close up the show here. Do you want to plug your show or a blog or something that you have here?
Oh, it's political independence, and like I said the last time, I'm kind of sporadic on here. I did do a show the last couple of days, but you can either type in that or type in my handle name, and it'll come up, and you'll see it.
Well, I thank you for calling up, Critic. We really appreciate what you had to say, especially in the race relations portion of the program. And we always welcome you to call in. You provide great discourse, and it's obvious that you keep up to date with your politics.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Critic.
All right. Thanks.
Anyway, folks, we got about 9 minutes left in the program, and we're going to go ahead and start winding down. And I know I was going to make a comment about, Kanye West and his ridiculousness. So I'm going to make it here real quick, and then I'm going to basically make a final word of the program. First and foremost, I don't think that it was a surprise that slack-jawed, imbecile Kanye West got up on stage during someone else's speech for an award and, started touting his own slack-jawed nonsense. This is the same idiot who said that, George Bush hates black people, even though he's had more black people in his cabinet seats than any other president prior to him. And he's made all these outlandish claims, and he's rather an idiot. I don't know if you ever heard Kanye West talk. This guy's an absolute buffoonery. This guy stumbles over his own tongue like Flavor Flav trying to stumble over some 2-bit whore bag just to get a free trip to Hawaii. It's disgusting. And then Obama, according to TMZ and the recording that they released, actually chimed in off the record, of course. This wasn't an on-the-record little comment. Basically called Kanye West a jackass, And I think that it's very coincidental that, we've had this story initiated by the liberal media, because it takes some damn emphasis off the screw-ups that this damn liberal regime has been putting in your faces. Don't you understand, you damn liberal, long-haired, nipple-clamp, loving, butt-plug up-the-ass-looking, wish-you-had-a-clue, having, Karl-Marx-worshipping pieces of trash that our country is being flushed down the toilet? And it's because of a lack of political activity by the people. I'm sick of people coming up in here trying to, suck the emotion out of my audience by saying, "Oh, Ghost, don't you care about the poor in America? Don't you care about this and that?" Hey, you know what? My ass bleeds for the poor in America, okay? I mean, are you kidding me? The poor in America can go and get as much federal assistance as they want in this country. I mean, we're giving everybody everything, folks. All right? That's the liberal compensation. If anyone tries to contradict them, they say, "Oh, look at us. We gave people collecting food stamps 25% more on their check. We're compassionate." Folks, the bottom line is that this liberal regime is bought and paid for, just like they claim that Bush the Bush administration was bought and paid for, all right? And the only way that anyone is going to remedy the situation in America is if the American people get off their fat asses and participate in the damn political process. Go out there and go and participate in the damn political process. Go out there and participate in it, damn it. Our country is being flushed down the damn toilet, and you people don't care. You people don't care. You people don't give a crap. You piece of shit. You piece of crap. Stop sipping the damn Kool-Aid already. Stop sipping the damn Kool-Aid and start realizing that this country is on the Titanic. This country is on the Titanic, and unless you as an individual start getting yourself politically informed, unless you start going out and realizing that the contradictions that are unearthing about this liberal regime in power is completely relevant to your life. And the only way that this country is going to change, and the only way that this country is going to somehow see real reform in government is if you, as the American person that you are, go out and participate in this government. And don't be some ill-informed jerk-ass. All right? Don't be like these damn teabaggers that are out here, all right, going out with damn picket signs that are misspelled, all right? I mean, you got these idiots out here with misspelled signs, causing ruckuses at town hall meetings and wife-beater T-shirts and NASCAR headbands. I mean, this is just disgusting, all right? We need to start taking care of America, damn it. What about the damn country of America? But instead, now what are we doing? We had cash for clunkers. Now we have cash for crap. You can get, cash for your appliances and crap. I mean, we're turning into junkyard America once again, folks. Welcome to Junkyard America. I hope you appreciate it, folks. Come on down. Come get your stimulus package check. Come on down. You got your stimulus package checks coming right here. You get your free health care. You get your cash for crap, cash for clunkers. All right, that's enough. Turn that crap off. But seriously, folks, I mean, I don't mean to be facetious about the seriousness of this situation here, all right? But remember, folks, this is the America that we're living in. We got a government who actually believes that cash for crap is somehow economic progress. That cash for clunkers, is somehow a shot in the arm in the automobile industry. Sorry for stumbling over my own tongue like John Edwards trying to explain hospice adultery here. But the bottom line is, folks, is that, this is not the America that we were brought up in. I want the America where we had the individual that had control of their own destiny. Now, the individual doesn't have the control of their own destiny any longer. They have to depend on the state. They got to depend on the will of the state and how much they're willing to tax and how much they're willing to regulate. I mean, there's more and more government in our faces, and we're going to continue to see it unless we get up and stand up and start recognizing that we, as American people, have a responsibility to be politically active in this country. We have an obligation to not only ourselves, but to our children to go out there and be politically accurate and politically correct. And I'm not talking about politically correct in speech. I'm talking about going out there and participating in the goddamn process. Anyway, folks, we got 1 minute left in the program. I want to thank everyone for tuning in with me. Tomorrow I am going to have another broadcast, so please bookmark it on your calendars. Same place, same time, right here on the Blog Talk Radio Network. The official website, blogtalkradio.com/ghost. All right, blogtalkradio.com/ghost. And once again, folks, to find the latest on the True Conservative Radio program, add me to your Twitter. Follow me on Twitter. It's the best opportunity to figure out when I'm going to conduct a live broadcast, and you can either follow us in the chat room or give me a call. And that's Ghost Politics. Twitter.com/GhostPolitics. And since I'm already on here, let me go ahead and plug the damn blog. Let me plug the blog, ghostpolitics.blogspot.com. All right, and go and spread these links like wildfire, folks. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your mammy, tell your granny, tell everybody you know about the True Conservative Radio Show, folks, because we need true discourse. We need true conservative commentary, and I'm here to give it to you. Until next time, folks, long live the conservative movement and death to feminism.
Boar's Head is bringing a slice of Japan to the deli. Introducing Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. Tender, slow-roasted chicken breast, coated in our signature teriyaki glaze, where ginger, garlic, and a hint of brown sugar meet for a flavor that's both sweet and savory. New Boar's Head Ichiban Teriyaki-style chicken. The bold flavor of Japan. Now at the deli. Only from Boar's Head. Compromise elsewhere.